Hey, hello everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you everyone for coming. I think now we will change the name of this panel to the community is the NFT mode. So here we will discuss for the next like 50 minutes how the community is vital to the success of the NFT collection and how to bring the most value and utility for your audience. So here today we have guys from the Aptos Monkeys, from the Aptomingos, Brabiers, um, also Jacob from Clutchy, yeah, and me. So I represent the Pontem team here, and we have the Pontem Space Pirate collection and also the Dark Ages collection. Um, yeah, maybe a short intro for every guest here. For me, it's been more than 1 year working in Pontem. My name is Vitaly, just as Alejo said before. Yeah, and we started building the ambassador program for the Pontem, and then launched the NFT collection. And we will talk more about it later, answering the questions. So I would like to introduce the next speaker is the Smith from Aptos Monkeys. Would you like to say a few words about your project?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. First, I want to do a very big shout out to Pontem for making this event a success. Shout out to Joe Fisher and Size and Capital, everyone here in the space. Happy to be with builders like you. So, very quick cap about Monkeys are one of the social profile projects on Aptos. We've been building here since May, June with fellow companions, with Joe Fisher, Pontem, and the space has grown pretty quick since then. Good old days, definitely. And yeah, the project is about building up a cool brand around monkeys, associating builders to our brand. You want to build stuff on Aptos, you want to connect with like-minded people, grab a monkey, jump into our Discord, and definitely you're gonna get a lot of things, ideas, people to help you out and to get empowered with. So yeah, that's a shortcut.
All right, nice. Thank you. Now to you, Fisher. Can you say a few words um, about your project?
Yeah, of course. My name is Fisher. I'm the founder of Aptomingos. First off, shout out to Pontem for setting this entire thing up. I don't know how many teams you have to speak and stuff. Like I was setting up a stupid Fall Guys tournament and I was losing my mind. So like setting something like this up, it's not easy. It's not easy reaching out to everyone and get everyone involved. But big shout out to you guys. Um, yeah, Aptomingos is like kind of like the exclusive sort of group on Aptos. When a new chain develops like this, there can be a lot of like misinformation. There can be a lot of rugs initially, and we basically wanted to create something that was exclusive, but also took the risk away from all the investors that wanted to get involved with Aptos early. That's why we did a relatively low supply of 12 flamingos. We did a free mint. We actually airdropped, fucking enough app to pay for gas, which I thought was pretty cool. Um, but that's I've done the whole sales pitch a bunch of times, but that's a short introduction of like at least what Aptomingos is supposed to be about.
Perfect, perfect. Excited to hear more. Joe, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Good morning, bros. Apologize, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I've been in Denver, shilling bears and shilling Aptos, and kind of doing the rounds. But yeah, I'm the founder of Bra Bears, which is a collection of 5,000. God, my voice, it's like so gone. 5,000 bears. We have extremely high conviction in Aptos, and I think that every person that you see on this panel is also has a conviction level similar to Bra Bears. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, nice. And we are waiting for the Jacob from Clutchy to join. Looks like he has some issues with that, but maybe later when he joins us, we can introduce him as well. Meanwhile, I think we can move to yeah, we can move. So we can start to discuss some questions that we prepared before. Some of them are pretty interesting, and they will give us an opportunity to express our values and approach to building communities around the NFTs. So the first one is how do bull and bear markets affect NFT communities? Um, Did you guys notice any difference on the behavior of the audience during the bull or the bear markets? Um, Honestly, in my opinion, I think you can still be successful even during the bear markets. This is something that we have seen recently with launching a lot of NFT collections on Topaz. I think that interest for the Aptos mainnet launch was just enough to be successful. Of course, the numbers could be even bigger during the bull market, but still you can gather the audience and start building with them and continue moving and then later be even more successful during the bull market. I even heard some ideas from some guys that it is even better to launch during the bear market because you have nowhere to fall from that. Basically, you're kicking off from the floor and only can go up after that.
I think there's definitely like there's definitely a huge difference between like how your community like sort of behaves and engages like during the bull and during the bear. I think they like during the bull market, everyone's kind of just euphoric, right? Like nothing you do is basically wrong. Everyone is kind of at this like big party where everything's chill. And even as like I think as a project, like objectively, you don't have to do that much. You just kind of have to exist and be part of the party. But in a bear market, you kind of have to prove yourselves like in terms of value, right? Like you have to do something that's valuable to holders because everyone is like I don't want to say the word depressed, right? But compare it to in a bull market, right, where everyone's euphoric, like everyone is kind of sad and down and worried and whatever, and you have to sort of prove yourself to be valuable during this time. Otherwise, people are just going to say fuck it and leave. Whereas in a bull market, they might not do that even if you're not like specifically out there. Maybe you don't have news that you can fucking share every week or every month, or whatever you do. But I still think there's value in like persevering through a bear market. I think we can all agree that like we hear this term or like this fucking like terminology thrown out a lot of time where like the if you're still here during the bear, you're fucking gonna make it. Things like this, which I think is true to some extent. Like if you can really persevere through a time period where everything is rough and you can still keep your community together even in a time like this, if you can prove yourself to be valuable, then when the bull starts or when there is a catalyst that is a little bit positive, then I think you're setting yourselves up for a great future. Whereas in the bull market, if everything is fucking euphoric and everyone's happy, as soon as it starts going down and you don't take action immediately or do something to prove that you're going to persevere through the bear market, whatever it is, then I think you're going to be in trouble. So I think there's like you said, like there's definitely upsides and downsides to both sides of the coin. Um, but I think if you can persevere in both, I mean, especially in the bear, you're setting yourselves up for a pretty great future.
Yeah, I would also backpack off of what Fisher said. The cope that I like to say is that like we're positioning ourselves to be in to capitalize when things inevitably do get better. But it still is a risk, and there you still do have to have conviction that things will inevitably get better. I think that there's not a single time you launch something and it's going to be perfect, whether it be like an NFT mint or a DeFi protocol or layer one or whatever. Like, there's always going to be some hiccups and bumps along the road. But yeah, like when you launch in conditions like now, this is when you're going to have a community of like really like ride or die motherfuckers. And I know this is a recorded space, so I'll try to not like cuss too much, but like some of the bears that you see, like Fran and Sham and God Shiva and like these guys, like these guys obviously they're not here because we're making them a ton of money, but they're here because they have a lot of conviction in us, and I think one day they're going to be the ones that benefit the most. So.
I'm on the same page also with Fisher and Joe. I think projects and communities um, have it easier when there's a raging bull market. Wherever you touch goes to the moon. There's awesome vibes in Discord, Twitter. Spaces are raging with 1,000, 2,000 people. Everyone's happy. Uh, that's that's like an easy formula to kind of build a community based on happiness, on them working together to find the next big alpha. The thing is, every alpha in the bull market is a good alpha because everything just pumps. But yeah, the challenge is when there's a bear market, you gotta be there, stick to community, empower them with different ways, whether they are building stuff, hop on a call with them, help them out. Um, uh, there's different ways that you can really kind of build out the foundation for the core people there so that you and them can go forward in the bull.
All right. Thank you, guys. So, as I understood that during the bull market, it allows you to make mistakes that might kill your project in the future, and on the other hand, the bear market applies pressure and responsibility needed to build the most quality and bring the most value to your community. And also definitely agree that during the bull market people are just stick around your project no matter what, just because they believe in the future growth of the crypto overall, not particularly in your special characteristics. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys, do you believe that there's a probability that someday in the future there will be the times when people just buy NFTs because of the nice pictures, uh, just planning to sell them for the higher price later? Do you think these times will be back someday? Is it possible, or the community will learn something and will be looking for the utility from now on, no matter the bull market conditions?
I mean, I think this question is a little bit complicated because I think it's already happened. Like, it's still happening right now. Like, people are just buying pictures because they like the pictures. They don't necessarily care about utility. But I also think like the whole concept of utility is like really really complicated, man. Like, I've kind of said this before in my community at least, but like, utility is whatever you want it to be. So like, if you want to be part of just like a ride or die community that does, like, they're not doing any tooling, they don't give a fuck about like analytics or DeFi or anything. They just want to be part of something to make friends, to like, have people in their lives with the same interests in a Discord community. Then that's the utility that you would want. If you want tooling or analytical stuff or any blah 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 whatever, then you can buy projects that have this sort of utility. You don't have to necessarily look for the ride or die communities, whatever. So like, whatever you want as an individual out of the project is whatever the utility like you want and need. And so some people just like buying art. Some people like buying expensive NFTs and then fucking put them on their walls, or do, oh, sorry for swearing, or do whatever with their art, right? Just having them in the wallet just as like a little trophy or something. So I think it's happening. I think it's still happening. It will happen forever, just because art is a thing. People like looking at stuff that make them feel a certain way, that resonate with their persona or values or whatever it is. Um, so and like the and like I said, like the whole concept of utility is super complicated. Like, some people just want to be part of something. Some people want like a rev share model. Some people want to be, have like some sort of quote unquote passive income, from a token that they think can retain value over time. But some people also just want to be part of like something, smaller. Some people want to be part of like a hundred supply collection where they can focus on a very like specific thing, like which Boogles or fucking sorry, Chimpions on Solana or whatever. Like, some of these like smaller communities that like maybe have a focus on one-of-one art, for example. Like, the utility is whatever you want it to be. So I think, yes, people will still buy NFTs just for the pictures. They don't necessarily care about utility. Some people do, but that's at least like my take on that whole like thing, like utility.
Yeah, I also do agree with Fisher. The thing is with markets, cycles are inevitable. You've got the bull raging cycle where liquidity is abundant. Uh, Market participants are taking extra risk on all sorts of assets, and I think that's when you see people going for the art collections. I mean, you also see this in Web two. Some of the biggest art collectors have no utility attached behind their art, and you've got crazy pricing, 15 million, 20 million, 100 million. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen in crypto, but what I'm saying is you've got art collectors who appreciate the time and the effort being put into a piece of art, the artists behind it, and they collect their pieces. And this is definitely a trend that will come back to crypto once there's an abundance of liquidity. And yeah, in my opinion, there's going to be two kind of markets. The NFTs are attached to some sort of, utility or what have you. And then the NFTs that represent a social profile, that represent community, that represent the vibes that the community shouts out. But yeah, in my opinion, in the raging bull, you're definitely going to be seeing crazy valuations for art that's appreciated.
All right. Anyone want to add something? The Joe, maybe you got your opinion on that part. Is the times when people prioritize the good-looking art as the utility of collection will be back someday during the bull market?
Oh, for sure, dude. There's always going to be. I mean, there's always different sectors of like, different ways you could do it. There's a bunch of different ways to skin a cat or whatever that saying goes, right? Like take Klanos on Solana for example. I would say that's primarily a art and like a branding based project, like OK Bears. It just depends on like what the team is and what the market conditions are at the time. So, 100%. I mean, we picked like the style of art for Bears because like every new layer one has some sort of like pixel blue chip, like CryptoPunks or SMBs or something, and we really thought that pixel looked really well. But it's entirely up to the team and what the team is good at to kind of use their edge to their best advantage. So yeah, I'll buy it all, dude. I'll buy the good art, art plays, the utility plays, etc. So yeah, for sure.
All right. So my take on that question was is that this process should develop somehow, because remember just as like in 2017 people were doing ICOs, and it was crazy, and then during the next bull market people learned something and they still raised funds, and this was crazy numbers, but it was different this time. The white papers were good, there was less hacking involved, and it was more safe. So I was wondering, like, do we have to expect the second wave of demand on the NFT art, and is it going to be different and more evolved from what we had before? Are people going to look more precisely on some other characteristics of the collections as well, and what is going to be important in that case?
I mean, I think I agree with you on the fact that like there needs to be more transparency around what is happening like in these projects for sure. Like I think we can all agree on that, right? Like the more information you have about what you're buying, the better, right? But if I, let's say I launched a project and I put in my white paper, you are buying this completely for the art. That's fine, right? Like as long as people understand that it's just an art play, you simply buy it because you like the art. There's no inherent problem with that, right? Like it's just like a, as long as people are aware of what's happening, then it doesn't matter. My white paper doesn't have to be 18 pages long. It doesn't have to be super complicated or like involve, utilities that will make you money in the future or whatever. If I just do something and I make it very clear that this is what I'm doing, there's no problem with that, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay, guys, let's move to the next question. what is the best way for a team to show appreciation for their communities? Um, Actually, I can be first while you prepare your answer. What worked really well with our Space Pirates collection is that we had zero royalties, and we covered all of the gas fees, and we even did the mint to earn collection. So we airdropped one Aptos to every holder additionally to the NFT. So we just kind of gave away as much as we could in all possible ways, and the community respected us for that really much because uh, they it was the proof in actions that we are not trying to make money off them, and it was more like an unexpected gift. And in my practice, I see that unexpected gifts are the most appreciated. So when you um, do more than expected from you, you kind of cannot lose. um, what do you think about it, guys? I will remind the
Yeah,
question. So what's
I
the
can
best way to show appreciation for your community?
I can go first because I see some low hanging fruit. Like the most thing, like the best thing you can do is not give up on them. Firstly, and not give up on the initial like vision and the reason you started this all to begin with. And obviously, I admire like the things that the Dark Ages and the Space Pirates have done. But you know, it is okay also to be in this space for a monetary incentive. It is okay to be in this space to make money as well. So I think the thing that the most important thing is just to like, hey, like yeah, don't rug your holders and don't leave them hanging. And like endure the hard times together. Because then when shit gets better, you're gonna have some of the best friends of your life, and you're gonna be like, um, you know, enjoying the benefits with your homies. So
Yeah, also to piggyback off of that as well, like I guess the way you would appreciate your holders is also by highlighting them. Like I think that's a super important thing, and I think that's the reason that sub DAOs like exist, or the idea of like clubs or whatever, is that you highlight your holders that actually want to do something like within your project. So if they are really good at making art, you make sure that you help with like social engagement, for example. Like you've built something, like let's say we had a super like dedicated artist that was an Aptomingo holder, and he came to us and he was like, "Yo guys, look at this! I dedicated this to Mingos. Can you retweet it, whatever?" Of course we would. Like we want to highlight these people. We want to show what our community can do. And I think that's also like a great way to at least show appreciation. Like sure you can give them money, like you said with the mint to earn stuff. I think that's cool as fuck, and I don't think we've ever like really seen it before. But also like highlighting them in other ways than just like basic monetary value, right? Like show appreciation for the fact that they raid on your tweets or whatever. Show appreciation for the artists, for the maybe the developers that are sort of like volunteering to maybe help. That's like something that we've run into with Mingos, right? Like we have tons of people who are willing to like literally volunteer to help us with the ideas that we have. And I fucking love that. I think that's one of the best parts of our community, is that people love it so much and they want to be part of it that they are willing to help us basically for free. And we want to highlight those people. So I think that's one of the reasons why sub DAOs exist. But that's also like the like I guess main way that I would show appreciation.
All right, Smith, maybe you got any comments on that topic?
Yeah, very valid points that Joe and Fisher came up with, and you as well. Sticking with them from day one, being there when they need to, empowering the ones that need empowerment. And I can relate in our community. We've got a lot of builders. I'll give a very good example. After Robos, he was thinking, for example, to build something. We hopped on calls and empowered the ideas that was revolving around the project, gave some advices and what have you. I think these small tokens of appreciation are seen as a very big deal by the community, and they'll definitely be happy with these small deeds of kindness. And yeah, being there with them daily, like I hop on Discord daily, chat up, see what's happening. If there's any alpha to share, we share. And the school vibes happening in the midst of a bear market is kind of immaculate.
Okay, nice. Let's move to the next question. Do projects with decentralized governance tend to have stronger communities? Um, in my opinion, it's not necessarily connected, because sometimes decentralized governance can even weaken your trust in the project, because you're like, well, what about the reputation of the team? You want to know more details about who is behind the project in the first place, not about the governments, in my opinion. So you just need to have a good reputation and deliver on your promises, publish the product updates, do the roadmap stuff, and provide for your community, show them love, appreciation, do not leave them hanging, all that stuff that we discussed before. And I'm not sure if the decentralized governance is the main feature to build a strong community, but it is definitely helping if you know how to build that in a quality way. So personally, we in Pontem have still a way to learn how to do that, and because we want to do it properly, we want to do it right. We are not going to introduce that some voting features just to introduce them. I think this should be meaningful, and this process should be providing value to the community as well. What do you say, guys?
I think this one as well, like they're kind of like pros and cons, but I think personally, I think the NFT projects that do the best are the ones that have like one passionate and like vocal point or leader that like kind of guides the vision for what the project wants to do. Like you can have some sort of like governance within that. Like you could have like a some sort of like political thing with the team. But in my experience, the projects that do the best have like one vocal, like really like hard standing point that sort of drives the entire project. That's not to say that like some sort of decentralized governance couldn't work with like some sort of voting system, because I think it definitely can, and I think it has for a few projects. But in my experience, I would still think that like just having someone who drives and is responsible for the entire thing is a little bit more like it's easier to I guess digest, maybe. Like it's a little bit complicated, I think, but I think that would be my take on this whole like governance sort of point that has been pretty. It's struck up a lot of debate, at least in the Solana space, I think, recently with Monkey DAO and whatever. But I think it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I also do agree with Fisher. The thing is, you've got two ends of the spectrum happening in this space. You've got some projects who are based on some sort of governance, do working out. You've got like the SMB, or even though now there's some sort of dramas happening. You've got the nouns on Ethereum. That's a very solid framework and shows that it works. But it's no easy feat, in my opinion. It needs a lot of work, and I think if you go back to the roots, there's certainly some key vocal people, just like Fisher had said, that enabled the framework to work. So in both ways, I think, and the key starting of a project or DAO needs to be led by a few vocal people who kind of pivot the project from a centralized one to a decentralized one. And then you've also got the projects that have no sort of governance around it that are doing very well. You can see Famous Fox on Solana, for example, or the DGods that rotates around Frank, and a lot of others. So yeah, there's two ends of the spectrum, but just to kind of summarize it, kicking a DAO is no easy feat, in my opinion. There needs to be a lot of work done. Framework needs to be right, and there needs to be a few passionate people to work with you to kind of kickstart it, because you can't just do it alone.
Yeah, I'd love to piggyback off of this. So I have a little experience from Solana with this as a former DAO president for Pesky. There's a lot of standard operating procedures, bylaws, a foundation work that needs to be handled for a DAO to actually work properly, or a governance system. Sometimes I feel as an ecosystem, not just Aptos, but ecosystems all around, we throw the term DAO around pretty loosely. And there's a lot that comes with that, even some legality things, depending on what the actual project is doing. I think you do need to have some vocal people, a council or executives, people that are leading that, and standard operating procedures to help set the tone, a voting system, multi-sig wallets. There's a lot that kind of goes into it. I do think it's beneficial. I think it uplifts the community. It allows the community to be more involved than just a holder itself, and it allows them to open doors that they probably didn't have before. That was a lot of the opportunities I got was from that position, just for leading that DAO. So I think it opens a great door of opportunity for people. And I think it comes down to the initial core team, and then those people wanting to start a DAO to really set it off in the right direction.
Nice, amazing. I think it is very important for every project to have some kind of connection with the community where they can grow. Basically, they can suggest their initiatives and be sure that they will be heard and provided with support to really do some stuff that they want to help with. But for that part, we had the ambassador program, which worked really well and is now on the second phase, and we are still developing it further. But can you provide any examples when the community is really meaningfully influences something in the project when they successfully operate as the decentralized community? Because for me it's hard to remember any cases with details where people just kind of really operate in a meaningful way together as the community, where they can vote for something and decide, and then it really works out successfully.
Sorry if that was directed towards me. Yeah, I mean, we've had some examples in the past. I think Monkey DAO or SMB have been a great project to kind of see that around, right? How a DAO works, the voting systems. Everyone, if anyone's ever held an SMB or has been a part of it at some time, kind of the voting system that they go through. And I think it's extremely important, like I said, to lay that groundwork and really get up with the teams themselves of the projects to make sure that there's actually a system in place so they can function properly.
Yeah, I see. Okay. And here I think we are moving to the next question smoothly, because it goes like, how can fans of a project help strengthen their own community? So we're kind of discussing that already now. Like, what is the options for the loyal community members to help the project, how they can influence it positively? What is your experience with that, Fisher?
Yeah, so Joe and I had a conversation back in in like August or something, or I don't know, September or something. We were talking about like he mentioned this term called social capital, which I now use a lot of the time when I talk about like the social aspect of NFTs. And I think this term is insanely useful, and I think that's one of the most important things, because the main line of communication for projects is Discord and Twitter. And the way to get words out, the way to get messages out is through these platforms. And that's simply how like a project operates. Like sure, you could have like, minor Telegram groups or whatever, or other things like group chats on Twitter, but the main line of communication for NFT projects is through these platforms. And I think that the best way, like the the only thing that I would ask of like people who are like diehard fans of Mingos, for example, is just help us every single time we try to post something on Twitter or Discord. Like every single time we release news or we highlight a new member that wants, whatever, we need everyone's help to do this, because I think it reaches more people, and that's like eventually the goal, right? It's to reach more people. It's to have a bigger community at the end of the day. It's to build on top of what you're already building. And if you do that consistently, and if your fans or your investors, whatever you want to call it, if they help with that, That's like the one thing that warms my heart every single time. Every single time I post a tweet in raids and I see 15, 20 people just saying, welcome to a new buyer, or holy fuck, this looks awesome, or something. That's the one thing that warms my heart as a community lead, or as a founder. And I think that's the one thing that you can always do that's free, that doesn't take a lot of time. Like, sure, you have to eventually be active in Discord at some point, or active on Twitter to do this, but it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't take a lot of time to do so, and it really, really fucking helps. I think it really helps.
Do you have something to add to that, Joe?
Yeah, can you just repeat the question one more time? Like, I've been dealing with this like monkey DAO shit too. I've been looking over at the side and seeing what they're dealing with. It's been quite sad. So go ahead.
Okay. We are discussing how the fans of your project can bring more value to your community, how they can strengthen it and bring the positive change.
Yeah, 100%. And by friends, do you mean like Fisher and Junglesmith and then like Shamrock and some of these guys? Because if that's the case, then I think we're already doing a good job of supporting each other. I don't think any one of us at this stage is competitive with each other. I would say that if there is going to be someone we want to look to as competition, it's going to be trying to get volumes that other ecosystems have. So I would say that maybe in the beginning when like Aptos had an extremely high amount of social capital and excitement, there was more of an almost opportunity, or it was okay to be competitive. But now we have to put everything aside and just make sure that we're working towards a common goal, which I think that is 100% what is going on right now behind the scenes. It's just going to take time, and it's going to take time and conviction. So yeah, I hope that answers that. I'm sorry, I've been a bit distracted, but yeah, dude.
This is really nice to hear about the part about no competition and working together. I hear that frequently when I speak with teams that are only moving to the Aptos ecosystem. They usually, when I ask them why would you decide to move to Aptos ecosystem, they usually answer that Aptos community has one of the most active ecosystems. Like everything is live, everyone is collaborating, everyone is being very active, building stuff, collaborating, and so on. But actually, the question was not about the friends; it was about the fans. So that's the difference. We were talking about your audience, your community. Partnerships is great, of course, but the question is, maybe you have some examples or cases when some very active and loyal leader, some guy from your community came up with some idea which eventually went live. So he made it through, you noticed him, and then it really influenced
Oh yeah,
something.
100%. I mean, I think that's something that we've tried to do from the beginning, is try to like empower the community, not only because it's the right thing to do, because like as a founder you need the help from the community. You need their criticism, you need their ideas, you need their like graphics, you need their content. So I know, for example, Shamrock makes a lot of content for every project on the Aptos ecosystem. Like that is something that is extremely helpful for us as like founders, because it gives us something to share to the community and it gives us content to post. I know GodShiba has done a great job kind of fostering these sub DAOs, like Brotherhood DAO, and I don't know what else he does. I can't think of it on the top of my head, but this dude's hustling for us, and none of it is because we asked. 100% of it is because maybe they hold a lot of bears and they want to help build with us, or yeah, that's probably the main reason. A lot of the times, if I'm a very active community member, it's because I bought the top and I'm trying to hustle for my bags as well. So, 100%, you need these types of community members to help you. You cannot do it alone. You simply cannot. It's impossible. Like, could you imagine like DGods alone? Could you imagine like SMBs without Monkey DAO? Um, like you, the community is the main part about these projects, so of course you cannot do it without them.
Sorry to chime in here a little bit, but kind of curious to hear your perspective on everything that's going on there in the Monkey DAO, Hayes SMB. Like, super interesting what's going on there, and kind of curious to hear your perspective. Those that have been following it.
Yeah, 100%. I got the chance to meet Nam, who is the head of Monkey DAO, and a few of the other monkeys in Denver, and I got to hear their perspective on Aptos and kind of Swede and the other Move ecosystems. And although right now I'm not very happy with like the direction and like the new mint that they just announced and stuff like that, I'm not gonna sell or I'm not gonna do anything because I have conviction that this community is going to just keep fighting and like keep surviving until they figure out a path that is the best option for all the holders. So right now it's not looking good, and there's a lot of FUD and a lot of like uncertainty, right? But welcome to crypto, welcome to our industry. So this might be a good opportunity to join that DAO if that's something you've wanted to be in for a long time. But yeah, it's not looking very pretty right now. I'm just gonna go enjoy the rest of my time in Denver and meet some Aptos peeps and not look at it, and hopefully in a few days like they'll figure out their shit.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit sad to see that happening. Hopefully, hopefully not super correlated with everything. But I imagine just some of the infighting happening around bear market stuff. And what I think is cool about Aptos is that I think the bear market has brought us closer together rather than tearing us apart. To maybe some learnings there from that ecosystem to continue carrying us forward.
Yeah. I'll mention one more thing. I know you just put your hand up, Mr. Smith, but like it's also pretty bullish for like this how eccentric like Solana NFT people are. For them to be like literally their days are being ruined over like DAO decisions, and like people are so passionate over this stuff, and this is what I want to see one day for the Aptos ecosystem. Maybe not as chaotic, but like just the straight passion and like how much people care. It really shows the power of like the NFT community that's over on that ecosystem right now. So hopefully one day we do have this type of drama that takes up this much mind share, because I do think it's at the end of the day it is a bullish thing. So
yeah, I think Smith, you wanted to contribute also to that.
Yeah, Joe brought up a very important point regarding like the vibes that's happening on Solana, and with all the drama, if there's something that we can deduce to it is there's communities being formed around ideas, and that in itself is a very bullish sign that things are happening on Sol. And to add to that, in regards to Aptos, you said something, Pontem, where that we realized that we're in the bear market. We're building in the extreme dead end of the bear market, and that has brought us together. But there's something that I'm seeing on Aptos that's kind of you don't see on other blockchains. Is us NFT projects hopping on a space with a respectful DeFi protocol like you guys, trying to build up the foundations of communities, projects, DeFi, NFTs, communities, and Aptos. And that's something that you rarely see on other blockchains, whether on Sol or on ETH. The NFT versus the DeFi communities are on two polarizing ends, and I think that's something that's unique on Aptos and should continue to kind of flourish, and in itself is very bullish as well.
Definitely, you gotta cross the aisle there to build and honestly merge ideas and see what comes out of it. And to Joe's comment earlier on seeing the drama as a bullish sign, definitely agree. Like look at politics, right? Like we shouldn't come to consensus around things without having arguments about what's right. And hopefully we just keep it respectful. I think what's great about Aptos is that right now it's small enough and the connections are being made, and also thank you to Aptos as well, because they are bringing us together. Like they brought all the NFT projects together that are building, and I think that really creates the foundations for a strong grassroots community to continue to build. And even through tension or politics, we can all be respectful and listen to each other. And I think that's the way forward. And hopefully, we can all learn and we'll love to debate you, Joe, on some governance stuff once we start voting with our bears and our monkeys and pirates. So yeah, definitely excited for that to come as well. We need NFT tooling for DAO management though, which I know the Aptos team said is coming soon. So yeah, excited for that to happen. And apologies, I'll kick it back over to you, Vitaly. Sorry for chiming in.
Yeah, I think we are done with the questions, and now we can just say some final thoughts and maybe share some upcoming news about the projects, about your overall intentions and the opinion on the NFT market for the Aptos. I can be first. Like we are continuing to grow and develop our NFT ecosystem. There will be more partnerships upcoming. We will introduce more NFT collections, and we will continue to gamify the experience for the holders. And we will expand. And also, Pontem is launching the NFT auction, and the project name will be Noon, most likely. We just had a contest for everyone who attends the Move conference, and we needed to share this info for the guys for this contest. What is some news that you can teaser about your collection, Joe?
Yeah, for sure. I think right now the mindset that the Brevers team is in is we're in a very big survival mode. We are building, and I think the things that we want to build are things that will bring brand recognition, and things that will benefit the ecosystem in some way. So whatever will get more eyes on the project is going to be like the first question we ask when we think is this going to be worth the money it takes to build or the resources it takes to build. But I would say like right now, it's like a survival mode. Like I said, we want to position ourselves to be in a really good spot when things inevitably do get better, because I have very high conviction that they will. So we're just kind of taking it easy, kind of shipping little by little. Zero, the co-founder of Brothers, has been on a manic building spree where he kind of I don't know. You guys all know him. You guys follow him. You know what his speed is like. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, dude, we're out here. We're not giving up anytime soon, and we're gonna be here for the long run. So, I'm very excited, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Pontem. I'm gonna dip a little early because I want to go and check out some of the conference and go show Aptos and go show bears to some whales. So, thank you so much, guys, for bringing us up here. Thank you to the Bro Bears community for joining, and excited to have more of these conversations in the future.
All right, thank you. See you next time. Smith, would you like to share any some teasers about your upcoming developments?
Yeah. So we're building out some basic infrastructure for NFT projects to kind of strive on Aptos. The stuff that is easy to do and gets an NFT project running fast, especially if they've got things they want to offer to the community, like staking, basic tools. We've already released a few things, and in the next week we'll be releasing the first white label staking platform, no code as well, so that NFT projects can kind of do one quickly and continue with their community building and kind of concentrate on other things in regards to their projects. And just like Joe said, at the same time, we're taking it easy, projecting 6 months, 12 months to the future, seeing what are things that can be done, and to kind of survive this long bear market that has been hitting everyone.
Okay, nice. Fisher, would you like to say any insights about the future of NFC ecosystem on the Aptos and some upcoming updates for your collection?
Yeah, of course. So we've been like I think I kind of agree with Joe that we're also like in some case of like a survival mode where we still want to provide value to holders, and the best like value right now, it seems that it's just like looking for opportunity where it is and kind of like taking advantage of it. So like whitelist spots example is like the kind of thing that like we are trying to like be very on top of because we are an exclusive community. But that's at least like a little bit of like the current state of it. We are still working on Gen 2, which is I'm super excited about. I'll get into that a little bit later. We have one more auction left to go of the one-of-one auctions that we wanted to do after we minted. That has been a fucking crazy experience. Having like the first, I guess, actual auction on Aptos is pretty cool. But also the smaller event I think we've hosted with them has been a way to socially engage, even though it's been kind of fucking sad and boring and there's not a lot of stuff happening. We want to continue to do this, obviously, like with the social engagement, make sure that being on this chain, even if it's kind of down bad, even if people are a little bit bored, that it is still fun to be a part of. So that's something that we are pretty adamant on doing, at least in the future as well. Once this last auction is done, the Aptomingo, like the initial Aptomingo roadmap, is actually done. Like we've pretty much accomplished everything that we wanted to accomplish initially, and then it's just about looking into the future. So we will have a second iteration of a roadmap. Some of it will be, focused on Gen 2, which, like I said earlier, I'm super excited about. One of the main critiques that we had as a project is that we aren't very PFP-able, and I completely agree. Like this stupid fucking bird looks really dumb as a PFP, kind of. But we did want to sort of fix that. We did want to expand on the community, regardless of like how we eventually ended up looking. Right? We had a bunch of different routes that we could go down on, depending on how much capital we had after the mint and all these things. But we luckily, and I'm very grateful for this, we had enough to do exactly what we wanted for phase 2, or Gen 2 as we call it, which will be kind of like the opposite of Mingos, where like Mingos is supposed to be the responsible and the loyal and the like sort of more structured like community, where Gen 2 will focus a lot more on the opposite spectrum of that, where it's a lot more like chaotic. It's going to be a lot more like fucking ride or die. But I think there's value in both sides of this coin that I'm talking about, like the spectrum of community, where you have like the sort of careful and responsible people who like to do their research before they invest, and then there's like the more degenerate part that just kind of want to be part of something cool. And hopefully that something cool that I'm talking about will be Gen 2. We have, I think, 85 to like 90% of the artwork is done. I'm super excited about it. I think it looks great. We are doing a lot of stuff for the marketing campaign, which I'm fucking, that's the one thing I'm really excited about, like the sort of marketing campaign that I have planned for this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be socially engaging, and hopefully not boring. I think that's the one takeaway you should take like away from me as a founder, is that I don't ever want to do anything that's boring. The main reason I'm in NFTs and why I'm like actually building stuff is because I think it's fun, and I want to make the experience of being part of this fun. I want to make the marketing experience, I want to make that fun, to get your whitelist to whatever, to up until the minting day. I want to make the minting experience super special. I do have some ideas already, and we're working with a few people behind the scenes on this at the moment. But I think it's going to be fun. It's something that I don't think we've ever seen before. If it can work, I don't want to make any crazy promises that we can't keep, but the minting experience is going to be something else. And if not the minting experience, at least the reveal experience. But I'm super excited to get everything started. I'm super excited to work on the future roadmap for Aptomingos, because of course we'll not forget our baby. We'll keep working on Mingos. We'll keep trying to strengthen the community behind this. We want to make sure that the community is always happy, regardless of whether our roadmap is done or not. In quotations, like we want to keep building upon it. And if the community has any great ideas, we'd love to listen. But we want to, of course, keep working while also having Gen 2. So I'm becoming a busy man again. I was busy pre-mint and a little bit after mint with Mingos. We kind of slowed down, after a few months. But now it's getting busy again. So I kind of can't wait. But I'm also, it's exciting and all these stuff. But it can also be a little bit exhausting. But thank you so much for hosting this. I think this was awesome. I think these conversations are super important to have. Regardless of what your position is, what your opinion is. I think these discussions are a great thing to have, and I want to applaud you guys for setting all this up. It takes a lot of fucking work to get to get all these people up here, and to set something like this up. So thank you so much, Pontem. Thank you, Smith, for showing up as well, and Joe. I know he left, but and to all the communities, right? Like all the communities that are here, regardless of if you're from Mingos, Monkeys, Spare, Spooks, Maverick, whatever you are. Thank you so much for showing up and listening. I think this was a great experience.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for attending this panel. I hope this was interesting and insightful. I will also remind that we have ongoing contests where people can clip 30 seconds fragments from our discussions, share them on their Twitter accounts, tag the Pontem, and then get rewards for that part. So thank you everyone once again. I think it's time for us to move to the next panel. Thank you. Take care.